I didn't think so.
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Kevin
Hello.
Jackson in the chat? We're here with the GOAT of HVXs.
Dude, I love it. How's it going?
First of all, I've got a question. What does HVX Goat Productions mean?
Okay, so to kind of start this off, the HVX is one of my favorite cameras, and it is made by.
Do you have an example?
Sorry, one second here. I'm like trying to talk, but I've also got the live stream going in the background. There we go. Sorry about that.
Oops. Anyway.
Yeah, so the HVX is actually a camera made by Panasonic, the HVX 200. It's one of my favorite cameras that I've used over the years. And dude, that was just a big thing for me, right? And then the goat thing comes from me just being called the goat man in high school. Yeah, kind of funny, eh?
That is funny. For some reason, you're frozen.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Oops.
Jesus.
Push the camera button and then push it again.
Okay, sorry.
You're good.
What is going on
This
here?
is Freestyle Channel. What's up, Adam Ortiz? Who's in the chat and where are you from? Okay, so it went away for a second. Now hopefully it comes back.
Am I back?
No.
There
There
we
you
go.
are. Okay, anyways. So you're the goat man and you're the HVX goat and you had to think of a name, so that's what came up.
Basically, that's yeah, it's kind of funny because like you would think I would come up with something a little better, but dude, I love it. I really enjoy it.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
Awesome.
Yeah. That was like honestly, I just kind of wanted to know that. But I also wanted you to give me kind of the elevator 30-second rundown on what you do from your perspective with your YouTube channel and podcast and everything.
Absolutely. So, for those who are not aware, my name is Cam. I am the goat. I'm the host of the Goat Cave podcast, and basically, I sit down with a guest each week, big or small. This past week was actually Mr. Brant Moore here, most handsome man in BMX, must I say? And yeah, we discussed so much, man. I really, really enjoy going back through the time and the history of BMX. So to kind of see, like, the different perspectives that people have had over the years while riding, basically.
Yeah. You've had some pretty big names on there. I saw Aitken, Behringer, Drew Bezincen's next, Charlie Crumlish. What are some other really big names?
We had Crandall from FBM, of course.
That one.
Yeah, we had him, and then I had Mr. Mike Escamilla. That's his
Rooftop.
frame in the background right there. I'm riding one of those. It's pretty sweet, must I say. And dude, the list goes on realistically, right? Like there's so many different dudes within BMX that I've had on here that are awesome. Like Chester Blacksmith was kind of recently, and then
Oh yeah,
even
that's a
some
good
like
one.
medium-sized people, right? Like Dean Dickinson, who is like the king of pool riding. This dude is getting up to 500 different backyard pools ridden. I had him on the
Jeez.
show a while ago, and just kind of hearing that stuff is super rad, man. He is really sick.
Yeah. Hit that camera button on and off again. But you've had some huge names on there. I saw Sebastian Keep was the one with the most views, and then there was Crandall was in there. Rooftops was up there. And I find myself wondering, you've talked to all of these different people who've been around BMX for so long. Are there any like consistent themes or anything that they like that came up or people like to talk about or anything like that?
It really depends. For me, a lot of my show is scripted, at least for like the questions and whatnot. I really like to go back and kind of figure out different things that we've, I don't know, like I'm really into video parts, right? So for
Yeah.
that, like I love to just kind of look behind the scenes of a clip and kind of see what has happened throughout that. Especially as somebody who's filmed two full-length videos, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
just love that stuff. Is
Yeah.
that camera working again, by the way?
Yep, you're good.
Perfect. Sorry about that.
I'm getting questions about your shirt.
So This shirt is actually the Aquabats, which is a ska band. I don't know if you know what ska is. It's basically like punk rock, but mixed with horns. And this dude, the Aquabats are sick. They had their own TV show. This is really cool. I've got a little Lego guy of the MC Backcommander. It's they're really funny. I love them, man.
Nice.
Actually, Christian Jacobs, the dude who kind of created the Aquabats, he also created the TV show Yo Gabba Gabba and like a couple other things, which is really interesting. He has a a pretty big background in skateboarding as well.
Wow, that's cool. Your camera did it again. I'll just
Oh
keep
my
talking
god.
while it does it, and we won't even make a big deal out of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
sorry, dude.
it's okay. I like the idea of like showing off the things that are in the goat cave because this is kind of sweet. There's a Nintendo 64 behind you. I see
Definitely.
that. You've got several computers that you're working with. What's your audio setup here? Is that all like connected and doing something, that switchboard?
So this switchboard is running into the laptop at the moment, and typically that would actually run the audio that we do for the Goat Cave. So when we had you on the other day, it was actually run right through this mix board, and then the audio, or sorry, the video is normally set up through my laptop and then into that computer behind me. So there's a bunch of weird working parts, and honestly, I don't know anything about when it comes to tech. I have literally thrown all this stuff together and it's worked out. So it's perfect for me.
Heck yeah. I mean, the quality is all there and is good. Got a lot of people praising the Goat Cave, Caleb Smith, uh,
Dude, Caleb's my homie.
Adam
He's
Ortiz,
awesome. I know what's up, Adam. You're rad, man.
people who know what the Aquabats are.
Dude, I love it.
Heck yeah. So, fill me in on kind of what riding bikes in Canada is like and maybe like the scene and things because I think it's kind of cool that we're talking about riding BMX in literally different countries right now.
Dude, I personally believe that Southern Ontario has one of the best scenes in the world for BMX. There's so many dudes who are like, at least medium level pros. There's a few high up pros from here. Corey Walsh, Drew Bazanson. Honestly, the list goes on. Chris Silva, close friend of mine. I
Oh
love
yeah.
Chris. He's incredible. Um, yeah, dude, the list just goes on and on. And even just the local dudes around here shred, and there's so many like different individual scenes, right? Like I took a lot of inspiration from the dudes over at DWalk, which is in London, Ontario. I'm only about an hour from there in Kitchener. And then on top of that, you got Chris Silva doing all the stuff with ICC in Toronto, an hour from here. It really just seems that everybody in this scene loves BMX so much, and it's interesting because you can almost just go to another city and ride with a whole different crew, and everybody is like just super chill. um the only thing that sucks is like, wintertime comes around and there's way too much snow to ride outside. There's a few dedicated dudes out there. I don't get it, man. Like, I'm not 16 anymore. I can't do it. Like,
Yeah.
riding in the freezing cold is terrible. And even on the show, we were talking the other day, and I was saying that during wintertime, I like to actually kind of just relax and take the winter off, essentially, maybe ride 4 or 5 times throughout the entire winter,
Yeah.
just at indoor parks. But yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting to hear about that. Are you close to what's his Instagram? Drop Top Matt Pop whatever.
Dude, Matt Drew.
Yes,
So
Matt
Matt,
Drew.
he lives about an hour from here, I believe. He's really sick, man. There's a couple spots that he rode last year that I have found on Google Maps, and I'm 100% gonna go and try and do something as cool as him. Not gonna happen. That dude is just so good. How
Yeah,
did you hear
he's
about Matt
rad.
Drew?
What'd that?
How'd you hear about Matt Drew?
I rode with him at Ray's.
Nice, dude. That
Ray's
is
is
sick.
like we talked on your thing about how it like brings everyone in Ohio together, but I didn't even get to the part about how like having Ray's so close by and having it be the destination that it is brings people from across the literal world out there that like I get to meet and ride with. And Matt Drew was one of them. His buddy Justin, I don't know how
Was
you
it
say his last name.
is it Jesse Trinka?
Jesse.
Yeah, there
Sorry,
we go.
Jesse. They're
And,
both.
I would assume you've met Beatrice then, because she rides with them all the time.
Oh yeah, I know. And the funny thing about that is that I know her not through that, but from Women's Weekend at Ray's and also the Buffalo Crew.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, and then the Bloom as well, right? Like, she has
Yeah,
that whole thing set up with Angie that basically is just promoting female BMX, which is incredible, man. We need more of that.
yeah, yeah. There's all of that. What about Chi? Are you close to Chi?
Like, Chijo?
Is that if that's how you say it? I know him as Chi.
Dude, he and Mike Gray and Joel Fortin took a trip up to Kitchener a while ago, and we filmed some stuff for the newest, dig part that, Mike had. It was
Nice.
incredible, dude. Just seeing, like, Mike destroy these spots was, next level, man. He is so good on a bike, honestly.
Yeah, it's cool to hear all of these like recognizable names that are really close to you. Because like here in Ohio, I mean, there are recognizable names, but like there's not even as many as we just listed that are near you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, interesting, eh? I'm like, we have the whole BMX Foo crew within, like, an hour from where I live, and then, in
Oh,
Guelph, they've got the luxury guys, and they're kind of, they're like a smaller crew, but dude, those guys are shredders. Like, there's this kid, Austin Carker, who rides for them, and he is just so good. I don't understand how he hasn't been picked up by a major company yet.
hmm. You're how far are you from Buffalo?
Like 2 hours probably?
Gotcha. Well, that's sweet.
Yeah,
I
I'm,
had no
like, in
idea.
the middle point of, where things kinda connect. So, like, if I'm closer to like, I can take, like, a 2-hour drive and go to Windsor, and then I can take a 2-hour drive and go to Niagara Falls. Like, I
Oh,
can kinda go each way, right?
that's that's pretty sweet. You heard it here first, folks. The goat cave goes both ways.
You
No,
got me there.
it's interesting to hear about. So like how, I know Joyride's somewhere up there. I don't know exactly where. So I see Matt and Jesse posting videos at Joyride. So I assume is that where you would ride if you rode more in the winter?
Yeah, so I actually go to Joyride probably once or twice during the winter, and then I go to All In, which is, like, the park that I used to work at, maybe once or twice, and then Inflow once or twice. And living in Kitchener, I get super lucky because all of those parks are literally within a 45-minute to hour and a half range, like literally each one, right? Like Inflow is pretty close at 45 minutes, but then Joyride and All In are literally both an hour and a half away from me either way. So it's really not that big of a deal. Like I can go to each one and kind of be stoked on it. All In is sick and I love it there because I used to work there. So I easily can just kind of get in and Derek allows me to ride after hours most times and whatnot. And just being able to kind of go ride that bowl again is really sick. But it gets really packed. And Joyride's a little different, right? Because Joyride is so huge. Like they got their inspiration from Rays. I don't know if you knew that, but like it's just a huge park. So there's so much more to ride in reality, you know?
Yeah. It's so crazy to me that they're that close and you're not you like don't ride that much in the wintertime.
I mean, it's
It,
just one of those things where like typically, I don't drive is one thing because I was pronounced with like epilepsy years ago and I haven't had a
uh
seizure in a long time, but I just don't really want to risk it.
yeah.
And so that's kind of a big thing. So then I can only kind of get out when other people are going, which is okay. And then just being so busy throughout the week and then weekends finally come around and that's when most people actually do want to do a podcast. So it kind of works out better for me in that way. But honestly, it's not that big of a deal. Like even last winter was weird because a lot of people didn't get to ride. I probably rode more than most people because there's all these like little hidden locations that are like private indoors, and I managed to get the invite to most of them. So
Yeah. So judging, I mean, I haven't personally seen your video parts yet, but judging from what you said about having dropped from a two-story roof into a ramp, you're riding at a decently high level here. So how do you go from like nothing to like turning on the switch? Like, does it just happen in the springtime or what?
I think it takes a couple sessions. Like even last week, we went out and filmed some stuff for this thing that we call skate park roulette. And basically, what it is that we let Google pick the skate park from 200 different skate parks in Ontario, and then we just have to drive there. So like if it's a shitty little prefab 4 hours away, well, that's where we're going, and we just go. So for that. it's kind of I don't know, we did that last week and we rode some pretty good parks, but it wasn't like I wasn't on my highest level there, just still kind of getting back into the groove of things. But typically when the camera's rolling and I actually really want to do something, I can just kind of make it happen. And let's be real here, like I don't do a lot of tricks. I'm more the kind of guy who just sends stuff. Like most of my video parts have maybe had 6 or 7 real tricks in them, and the rest of it is just big gaps, big grinds, stuff like that. Just,
That sounds awesome.
yeah, that's just my kind of thing.
And in the whole let's be real conversation of that, you don't have to, like, when it comes to just sending it, you just pretty much got to be confident in yourself enough to get the trick done.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, I'm gonna, I've actually got my full length video behind me here. I'll start this up and it can just kind of play in the background. But,
Sick. Oh, I'll have to move you over. There we go. Boom.
there we go. Yeah, man. But, I was really stoked to get you on the show, and I know that we kind of discussed this at one point, but you are pretty rad, man, and I love all the content that you're making. And dude, first of all, I gotta say, congrats on 25K. Good for you, man. That's an awesome milestone to hit.
Thank you. I'm definitely really psyched on it, and I appreciate the kind words.
Awesome.
Did
Yeah,
you
man. And
go ahead?
sorry. No, what were you gonna say?
It can wait, trust me. It can wait.
But yeah, man, I was just gonna say, like, keep up with the good work, and I'm sure everybody in the live chat would agree that you're doing great things for BMX.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So judging by the animation in the video that's in the background, are you the person who made Charlie the unicorn?
No, but that would be incredible, eh?
It's the same like style. It looks like it could have been the same person who made both. That's funny. There's gonna be a lot of
So,
people watching who have no idea what I'm talking about, but just YouTube search Charlie the unicorn.
dude, if you don't know what Charlie the Unicorn is, I am depressed for you guys because it is one of the greatest early videos on YouTube. Like that is like early stages of YouTube.
I think that it's more or less that it's between the demographics of people that are watching my channel, because it's like I feel like it's kids that are like 23 and younger, or 30 and older, and like that Charlie the Unicorn thing hit right whenever it was like, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Well, then maybe I'm wrong. Oh, I did say 23 though. Either way, it hit like right when I was in like middle school, beginning high school or whatever. And but anyways, that's funny to talk about the early stages of YouTube. Were you making videos back then, or like when did you start?
Dude, so there's a channel, I don't really remember the name of it, but I used to make videos on that channel of just me riding. And it was like, steal my dad's shitty little camera to use, one of the like Canon power shoots where you start it up and the lens like pops out of it essentially. And I would take that camera to the local park and just like put it on a tripod, put it on whatever, and just film random stuff of me riding. And then I would throw it together for like these little web edits.
Yeah.
And dude, nobody ever watched them. And I was always so excited about these things. And I put a lot of work into them, using a crappy laptop with the Windows Movie Maker and all this other stuff. And I stopped doing it at one point, and then when I came back to filming stuff, I went full in and like started working on like full length projects like Space Goats behind me. So it's kind of interesting to kind of see that, right? Like I kind of always have really enjoyed YouTube and making videos, even when like I didn't even know what I was doing essentially.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I have a really you'll appreciate this. So, Windows Movie Maker, I started there too, and I still have my Premiere layout exactly the same as Movie Maker was laid out.
That's hilarious.
Like before they moved it to Windows Online Movie Maker or whatever the hell that was, when it was
Yeah.
still on the computer and it still showed you a waveform, and it literally it looked like it could have been an actual editor with just not as many features. I have my my main monitor, my source monitor, program and source monitor in the same window with all of my assets on the left and the timeline on the bottom.
Dude, that is wild.
And it
N
just is because I'm transferred over. Like when I get a new iPhone, I try and make the screen layout and the apps exactly the same as it was
on
forever
the
ago.
old one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I get that. I hate when things move around, like, even with, my hard drives are ridiculous, dude, like, it's impossible to kinda go through them and find everything, but I know where it is.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm easily able to go through, and honestly, it just comes down to that I suck at sorting things, and I just need to get better at it,
Yeah.
and especially when it comes to, like, video projects, but,
Yep.
yeah, what do you do?
How many terabytes you sitting on?
So, right now, I've got a 4 terabyte in the Mac, and then I've got a 5.5, or sorry, a 1.5, so 5.5 between those two, and then I've got a 2 and a 1, and I am completely full. Actually, the reason that the podcast was delayed today was
Yeah.
because I had to go through and sort through like different hard drives that I had and move things along so that I could save up 40 gigs because our 4 hour
40 gigs. You know
conversation.
what's the funny thing is though, every single YouTube file I upload on a daily basis is that big because I upload in ProRes.
Dude, that is wild.
Are you
Yeah, I always export it and then like I'll compress it afterwards, and that ends up kind of working out the best for me. And
Yeah,
then, it's not 40 gigs on someone's data plan essentially
right.
watching one of my podcasts.
Are you ready for this?
Absolutely.
4, 5, 5,
Jesus.
5, 5, 5. There's
Oh
another
my.
5 down there, 3 twos, and 3, 4 fives behind my computer with 3, 1.5, 1, 1, 1. It's just, dude, it's insane the amount of storage I have. It
That's
is like
wild, dude.
mostly full. There's only a couple of them that aren't.
Yeah. Now, I was going to ask you the other day, and somehow I didn't find time in our 4.5 hour conversation. But I was going to ask, what camera did you start out filming stuff with? And did you ever have a history of using like tape cameras at all? Like, have you ever done mini DV stuff?
Okay, so it's kind of a weird conversation because I kind of did what you did where when I started filming, it was way long time ago for YouTube. Like my first video on YouTube is in 2006, but I started using this brick of a point and shoot camera, like one of the first ever point and shoot cameras that like QVC or whatever was selling on TV, and my parents bought it, and it was a 2 megapixel camera with no audio and standard def video that was like 320 by 160 or something like that. And I used that uh, at the very beginning, and then I upgraded to like another point and shoot whatever. At one point throughout in there, at some point, my mom bought one of those DVD record camcorders that records straight to a DVD. And I never like used that for anything really, but I did film on it, and then I tried to figure out how to like capture the footage on a computer, but our computer just couldn't like do it, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was like 12 or 13. And but from there is just upgrading point and shoots pretty much until let's see, I bought an Xbox. No. Okay, the story on how I got my first actual like camcorder, which I actually have. You know what? We're live on the internet. These people will wait on me. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, all good. How's it going, everybody? I currently can't see the live chat. However, I'm going to bring it up on my phone now. Um, yeah.
Plug
Oh,
it.
dude, that was fast.
Plug it. Go for it.
Oh, man.
Send the plug. I heard you
Yeah.
plugging.
Well, I was just gonna say I was pulling up the live chat so I could look at everybody's messages and see what everybody's saying here.
So, I ended up with this thing. This little point and shoot, or not point and shoot, this little dad cam here,
Nice.
which was nice. But how I ended up with this is I bought an iPhone off of my friend, and then I traded the iPhone for an Xbox 360, and then I traded the Xbox 360 for this thing, And the person I traded it to actually like had BMX stickers on his car or vehicle, but like I didn't know who he was, and I don't know, it was like too early to really know like who the person was. But I filmed a lot of stuff on this thing. This is one of those hard drive cameras, so it had a 120 gigabyte hard drive on it,
Whoa.
which was really cool. And there's actually probably still footage on there. But I had that thing, and oh, I think I still even have the, yeah, I got the fisheye that I used on it.
Nice.
And so that's what I made like a lot of the early videos on. So if like you went onto my old YouTube channel and found like the 691 uh, video that I made, or the Sponge and Brant split part videos, filmed a lot of them on that. Then, because there was a journey before I got to YouTube life, because I was filming like real videos the entire time throughout this. So I had that camera. Then I got, yeah, from that camera, I ended up getting a video job at a factory that my mom works at. And I used that for a little bit. Then I bought a GH2, which
Nice.
hopefully, yeah, we got this. Yeah, we'll just drop some stuff. So I got the GH2, and I don't know if you're familiar with the GH2 at all, but there was a hacking community around it where you could put your own settings, like actual group of picture settings, onto the camera.
Yeah,
And
they did a similar thing with Canon cameras. There was a thing called, I think it was
Magic Lantern.
yeah, that's it.
It was not quite like that, but similar. And so I
Right.
used that for like, that's what I started Lip Lords on, was this thing.
Nice.
And I think I filmed the first two Lip Lords videos on this. And then from there, I got the GH4 at work. We pre-ordered that in 2014. And I started using that for BMX too, because I just had it with me all the time and they didn't care. And so let's see, that brings me all the way up to like now with the camera that I use for like real videos, I guess you could say. But I'm actually currently on the camera I started YouTube with, and that was the iPhone 6.
Really? That's wild. So how do you have it set up then? Do you do like your iPhone just right into your computer and you have like a program that runs it?
OBS has a plugin for your iPhone, so you can. It's a iOS camera, and it's a plugin that's directly from OBS, and then you get the app on your phone, and it takes the audio and the video from that. And then what you're seeing right now is actually just a webcam, because Skype doesn't pick that up as a camera option. But I
Right.
use that to start my YouTube channel because that's just what I used and had. And I've always found it easier to just use my phone than to use my camera for YouTube stuff. So like even to this day, I went from the 6 to the 8, and then I used the 8 for 3 years until I got the 12 Pro Max.
Nice.
And now it's gotten to the point where I've used this phone for a lot of the edits that I've put out recently. So like the Woodward edit, the Nowhere edit, the edit that I'm going to put out with Hamilton in a little while, another edit that I'm about to, dude, I got so many edits in the works, Jesus. But yeah, all of my most recent edits, except for one that's being worked on, that I filmed all with the camera. A lot
Dude,
of
that is wild.
long story
So,
there.
yeah, I have always used like normal, like either camcorders or even DSLRs. And right now my setup is really sweet because I've got the HVX that I use for like long lens stuff. And there was a guy in the chat here, King Crab, saying that he was never a fan of fisheye. You would not like my first video because I swear 90% of it was filmed in fisheye. I just love the look of that lens, and it wasn't meant to be good by any means. But I've really gotten into shooting like long lens stuff. So using the HVX is awesome for that. And then I've got my A7, which we're using right now for the like webcam essentially.
I gotcha.
And that one is really sick. That one is awesome for pretty much everything. And the lens that I have on it is awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I really do miss because I had zoom on the camcorder. I miss being able to like zoom really far in and come out, or slow zoom as I'm panning into something. So I did buy a power zoom lens for the GH4, but the range on it isn't great. And then I have that uh 12 to 35 f2.8 constant, whatever.
Nice.
I have that too, and it zooms really nice. I've gotten to the point where I don't even want to use my camera for BMX anymore. I just want to use my phone because it's so good.
Yeah, actually, Caleb was asking in the chat a minute ago about
GoPro.
GoPros,
Yep.
and here's the thing about like phones, GoPros, and anything that's like got the Wi-Fi capability, which my A7 actually does. That was a big thing for me, is that a lot of things when it comes to BMX are all done through Instagram nowadays, right? So my thoughts, and I still haven't done this after a year of owning this camera, is you can just Wi-Fi transfer it right to your phone and then edit it and then post it, which I'm actually going to do like a video about that and like how it works essentially.
Yeah.
And just showing that like, you don't have to use your phone. If you have good equipment, but you don't want to take the time to literally plug it into your computer, you could just, kind of route it that way instead. Um, but man, most things like, dude, most pros, their Instagram is just filled with phone clips
And
nowadays,
you're
that's,
never, the only way you ever would know that it was a phone clip is if it's dark or inside.
yeah.
That's it. And even there's times at Ray's where like I use my phone now instead of my camera, just because 4K 60 looks better than 1080 60 whenever it's like viewed online, and no one ever would know the difference. My thoughts, because he asked about full videos slash edits being filmed on GoPro. My only thing with that is like, go for it. Yeah, whatever. Just don't film static stuff unless it is as close as it can possibly get to whatever's going on. Because there's a lot of people who have set their GoPro up like to the point where they're like a speck on the screen, and then you got to either zoom in, or if you just don't realize what you're doing, it just looks bad. So I think as long as there's thought and intent put into the shot and where you're standing and how you're filming it to try and make it look good, it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. And like for GoPro stuff, I know that the newer GoPros are pretty sick. Like you can actually plug in a microphone to some of them. But
Yeah.
yeah, most cameras on like just cell phones work perfectly for Instagram stuff. If you're filming a full-length video or like, an edit, you might want a camera, but it really depends. Like I feel like most people don't even bother with that stuff anymore.
Yeah, it just kind of feel like depends on the level that you're on and trying to do it. Like if I'm filming something like serious, I'll probably pull my camera out, or I'm going to use it to get two angles, which I just did for the edit that I started because two angles is better than one. Uh, but I don't know. I'm just to the point where I don't care. When I had my iPhone 8, yeah, I would never consider like using it instead of my camera. But now that this thing exists, if it's daylight, it's literally better than my camera. Sad to say, but it is.
Absolutely, eh? Caleb in the chat right now is asking about the Earth and if it's flat, round, or a pyramid, which is a reference to my film Space Goats. Film. However, it's funny we did this thing in the like thing where the Earth is a giant pyramid. It'll
That's
come up
funny.
later on, but yeah, I just thought I would point that out for anybody who's like, "What is he talking about?"
That is funny. So you got the HVX 200 still. Are you gonna get the 1000 or the 2000?
So the HVX is actually different than the VX, which is
No,
something that a
they
lot of
make
people
an
don't
upgrade.
realize.
Is it a different letter?
Is it the DVX?
It probably is the DVX.
Yeah, it's
No?
probably the
I don't know. Uh, I'm looking it up right now because I'm trying to think. X1000,
The what? Sorry.
X HCX 1000.
Yeah, that's probably a little different.
Yeah, that's the upgraded 4K 60 like gnarly camcorder.
Yeah, those things are ridiculous, man. I don't get paid enough to do that.
I feel it, man. I definitely feel it. And when you can buy a phone that you can use as a phone every day that will also shoot 4K 60, it's like, wow.
My thing with 4K is that, like, how many people are actually, using 4K monitors nowadays? And especially when it comes to, like, what I film most of, right? I feel like most people aren't really gonna care about watching a 4K podcast. Like, if you want 4K for my podcast, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, I'm pretty sure 1080 is fine. Like,
Well,
you know?
there's a reason that I upload everything in 4K ProRes though, because when you play it back, even at 1080, it literally looks like the file does on your computer. There is no compression that you can see because you gave it such a huge file to begin with. And ever since I noticed that, I was like, yeah, I'm just never gonna go back because this is literally like people are seeing what I edited, what I saw when I was editing.
Yeah, that's a good point, I guess, eh? Like, realistically, when it came to, making Space Goats, I had all the, like, high resolution files, and then when you put it on a DVD, it does sort of get compressed.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get that.
it goes way down onto a DVD, and if you start with the best possible thing, like the program I was using to make the DVD was one that I could start with a ProRes file, and then I did tests, and I tested between doing a MP4 and a ProRes, and when you put them like back to back and you watch each one separately, you can very much see the difference in quality.
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit about your DVD the other day on my podcast. And I was just gonna say, how how you feeling now that you're finished it? Because we didn't really talk about that. For me, when I finished Space Goats, I really was excited to try and start something new, but I just really haven't. Like, since then, I've just been so focused on doing my show and doing this instead, and taking a break from like filming BMX, if that makes sense.
I'll be honest. I got done with that and I was like, man, I don't want to make another one of these. Because it was just like, I don't know. It's just, honestly, I don't know why. Because the whole theater thing was awesome. Maybe it was the Rays premiere being so stressful that made me not. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe I would do something, but I just like, I think it's more or less the even longer wait that I just don't really care about anymore. I think I was like, I did it, cool. Now I'm ready to just make what I want to make, like I always have.
Yeah, I think for you as somebody who does YouTube and everything is kind of put out like pretty quickly for people, it's difficult to want to hang on to something for so long, right? Like for me, I had filmed a full length beforehand, so everything that we had filmed for 3 years, it really wasn't a big deal if none of it touched the internet. However, a lot of the people that I filmed with would get pretty upset about that, right? Because they just filmed this awesome thing. They're excited. They want to show everybody. And here I am, like, nope, it's going on my computer and you're not going to see it for at least 2 years. Like, you know?
Yeah, well, I did the exact same thing with a lot of people. And it's funny. And I think part of the reason too is that because I filmed so much and like so much with a camera, I had literally I think like 150 clips stacked up after my video section for the DVD was done. So like that's why my stacked edit is all footage that's super old and is like I'm psyched on all of it and the level of it, but it's all really old because I finished my edit and then it took me that long to get the video done that I like felt like I couldn't put out another edit until after the DVD was out. I don't know, I just felt like it'd be wrong to do that with all of the people who were involved. So I think that's another part of it because I even still yet have enough clips for probably 2 more videos with all of my footage that I have stacked between the last clips in the DVD part and, like, now.
Dude, that's wild. Yeah, and for a lot of people who maybe haven't filmed like an edit or like a full length part or anything, when you're filming these things, it's not like you just go out and get a couple of clips. Like my video part, when it was finished, I probably had a good 2 minutes of stuff that we got rid of that, maybe hasn't even touched the internet. Like
Mhm.
it's just one of those things that when you film for that long, by the time that you're finished, all the stuff that you filmed at the beginning doesn't even match up to the stuff that you filmed then, right? Like it's funny because like the first year of filming, I think I used one clip from that. And then like the rest of it is all the last year, and everything else that was in between is basically just still on hard drives waiting to be put on Instagram.
Yeah. Yep, that's kinda why I feel like I just would rather just make edits more like how I did the Woodward edit. So instead of saving what I felt like were the best clips from Woodward for an edit, I just made a whole Woodward edit or make the whole Nowhere edit, and then at the same time, that lets it get to the point where, like, finish the edit, then drop the videos from those days because I was filming the whole session anyways, and then people get to see, like, the whole entire thing around it, and you don't have to wait 3 years for it.
Yeah, exactly. And something I want to mention just about doing full lengths is like, is you who was filming and editing and also riding in it and also taking care of like everything with it. There's a lot that goes into that that a lot of people don't see, right? Like
Yeah,
it's funny because when I was making this video, Space Goats, I would spend, the equal amount of time that I was out filming editing.
yeah,
Like I would literally just spend so long just waiting and like looking at footage, trying to make sure that it matched up. And like there's probably three different renditions of the video on my hard drive with just like, video parts switched, clips switched, just that kind of thing. Cause like every move that you make, you don't want to like, I don't know, get further down the line and be like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. And then have to move things around if that makes sense.
it's art.
Yeah,
It's literally
exactly.
that's art. That's the you're making an art piece and you want it to be as good as it possibly can be.
Definitely. Even if it's two goats humping in the background.
Yeah, yeah, Charlie the Unicorn Goats.
Dude, so to talk a little bit about the animation, because you had sort of asked about it at the beginning. So the very beginning, I might get up and grab this, but it was all done on like paintings essentially. So we had like these canvases that my sister painted these goats on. And from that, I literally like cut them out in Photoshop and then went frame by frame putting them together and making like an animation essentially. And then
Wow.
I used like PNG files for the rest of it. It was just for that beginning part that we used paintings and like high res photos basically.
That is work. That is literal stop motion animation
That
done
was
in
how
a
I did the whole
computer.
video. Yeah.
That is nuts. I've done that kind of stuff before, and it is so much work.
Definitely, and I just wanna answer this quickly. Caleb, of course I'm drinking a beer. I got a hazy state tonight. What are you talking about? In the chat, like, "What's going on?" Let me grab this painting just so I can kind of, reiterate this and kinda go through what it actually took.
Yeah, I'm curious. And if anybody in the chat has any questions about the Goat Cave or full length videos or anything you see in the background, even, feel free to ask.
Okay, so for the beginning part, we took this painting here, and we cut out the goat
Yep,
from the background, and
yep.
then we used this one so that he could talk. So it's literally like
Wow,
4 different frames, right?
that's
And,
awesome.
it's funny because, like, doing it with 3 frames where it's, like, mouth closed, mouth half open, and then
Yeah,
fully open, and then this one was just so, like, just having his tongue out. But, yeah, doing that, man, it gets ridiculous. Like, each word, right? Like, you don't realize that in most animation, they actually use 16 different mouths, all for
Right,
different sounds.
right.
So doing it with 3 is, it's something else, that's for sure.
Yeah, like when you watch the behind the scenes for South Park,
Oh,
where
dude.
they've got all those mouths, or you watch any of the claymation behind the scenes with like Tim Burton or whatever, and you see the little like tackle boxes full of all the different heads from the different characters that that you have to swap out and go through. It's just, man, animation in general, I feel like most normal people in day-to-day life have zero idea of how much work animating something actually is.
Dude, so with the PNG files that we use to make, like, the animations throughout the video where it's not the paintings, I would spend anywhere from, like, 10 to 30 hours on, like,
Jesus.
a 1-minute thing, like, literally moving everything frame by frame. Like, even, anytime that you move this goat character, you also have to move his mouth, and then, like, anything like that, you
And you
kinda
got to
have to
make
move
sure it's
everything with
smooth.
it. Smooth enough, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care that much, but I was still doing it, I think, 30 frames instead of, like, most animation, I think, is 24.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You were doing even 30. Why?
Dude, because the rest of the video was in 30, and I literally did all the animation in that instead of, like, making a separate file and then
Uh,
exporting it and dropping it. I literally did it all in one. So if you were to ever, like, sit down and see my video, you would literally see that everything was basically placed, like, on the timeline. It's interesting.
wow. See, that's funny because even with the first one that I ever made, I went through a process where I edited all of them in Windows Movie Maker, I think, and then I couldn't put them all together. I don't remember why. I literally can't remember why I had to do it, but I edited all of them separately. Then I bought Pinnacle, something Pinnacle editing software to put them all together in one video. And I don't remember why, but even back then, I was still not editing the entire thing on one timeline.
Yeah, interesting. I feel like with, like, I don't know. I've always kinda asked this with certain people, and I think I'm probably the only person that did it, but, maybe you did this as well, but when it came to, like, my full-length videos, I would literally make everything in one timeline, and I feel like most people have, like, separate project files for, like, somebody's, video part, so it's like this dude's part, and then you open up another one, and it has just that dude's part, and then you export and then drop it together afterwards. I never did that. I just wasn't into it, I guess.
I I actually did make a longer video too from lost footage that was just old stuff that never ended up getting used, and I don't think I did that with that one either. I know with the most recent one, everybody had their own project file, and I brought them all in. I brought all of the projects in individually at the end so that
Nice.
it was bringing in, basically the reason that I did it that way is because I've screwed myself before in the past where if something gets corrupted in your project file and your backups like aren't working or something like that and everything is on one timeline, you're basically screwed. But if you separate it so that each thing is individual, then you have more of a chance for, like, if something goes wrong, it's only on one part, and hopefully the backup or the autosave files are still going to be there and work for you. I've kind of just like been editing with Premiere for so long that I know how much of a jerk it can be. And I like prevent anything bad from happening before it actually happens.
Now, are you on Mac or do you have like a Windows PC that you're using?
Both. I have
Okay,
I'm on a Hackintosh.
nice. I love it.
Yeah, I'm ready to not be on a Hackintosh anymore.
Fair enough.
I
Yeah,
just
I'm a
ugh.
I'm a huge Mac fan. I've just always really enjoyed it for everything that I do.
Oh, me too, but to get the power that I have in this desktop right now would cost like 10 grand versus I bought the parts off of a dude who used to ride without knowing he rode until I was gonna buy him. I bought literally a 9900K, 32 gigs of RGB RAM, the motherboard, power supply, and I think that might have been it for 700 bucks.
Wild.
And that
Yeah,
was
that's
when the
really good.
9900K was still the current top, not anytime recent when it was. There's two more out since then.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
I got
Yeah,
lucky.
it's funny because Apple is like it's so ridiculously expensive, and for what, realistically, right? Like, I don't know why I like using Macs, but I've just always gotten really good deals on them. Like the one that I used for Space Goats was $600, and then this one is like 700, and all I've done is just plug a thing into it and kept all my hard drives separate. But yeah,
Well, what I will say is that for my like part-time job editor making videos for a tractor company, I have to use Windows. I'm on Windows right now to do this because OBS in Mac will not pick up desktop audio the way that it does in Windows. Uh, but editing in Windows versus editing in Mac, it's just way smoother in OS 10. The mouse is smoother, clicking on things is smoother. Even Photoshop, like using the select tool, the lasso, the polygonal lasso, because I use that to trace things for thumbnails and stuff. Even that is easier on the Mac because it's like your movements are more precise. And I know that this is like nerding out and no one watching is going to care about this, but I literally don't care. This is our conversation. People are just listening to it with us and like asking questions and getting involved. But yeah, I use both on a daily basis pretty much. And I still wouldn't, if I didn't have to use Windows, I wouldn't.
fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, I think when it comes to anything to do with like art, art, you want Mac. Like,
That
it's
seems
just
to be the
typically the best.
consensus. There are people who don't and who won't. And I guess part of it could be like NVIDIA in Premiere and CUDA cores in their GPUs is like honestly way better than AMD, and the experience is better because my computer at work has a 2060 in it, and I feel like that the playback is smoother and more powerful in there. But I think the smoothness of actually editing itself is better. It's just the
Yeah, fair
overall
enough.
software experience, honestly.
Definitely, man. Now, let's jump into some more BMX stuff because I'm sure people
What do you
would
mean?
love to hear that.
You don't want to scare everyone away by talking about tech?
Oh, man. So, did you see that Chris Kyle will be releasing a mountain bike part tomorrow with Red Bull?
I did not, but I am excited for him to light the mountain bike world on fire.
Dude, they build this crazy curved wall thing and it like only goes 3/4 of the way around. So it's like a step up, right? Or not a step up, but the where you go into it is above where you come out of it essentially. So
Mm-hmm.
like you go around this wall and then you'll pull out of it and go into like this little bank essentially.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's funny to see him, go from, like, these huge video parts, and then all of a sudden, it's, like, him on a mountain bike in the woods. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck is going on here, you know?
It's actually kind of cool because you know he could do a Red Bull BMX thing right now if he wanted to.
I feel like it's been a little while since we got one. I think the last one was it the Dubai one? Where it's, like, him, jumping out of a helicopter on, like, one of the
Yeah, that
tallest
wasn't
buildings
that
in the
long ago
world?
though. That was last
Yeah.
year
Yeah, I guess it was last
because
year.
they filmed it with an FPV drone.
Yeah, that's wild, dude. Like,
Yeah, watching that
Jesus.
is nuts. I actually have a friend who rides here, um, who also rides dirt bikes, and somebody filmed him riding dirt bikes with a FPV drone, and it is the craziest looking thing ever because you can stay with him the entire time, and it's just an angle you've never seen.
Oh man, that is wild. I've always wanted to get into like drone footage, but I just can't afford. like to pick up a drone and learn how to fly it and also, break it a bunch. Like,
Yeah,
ugh.
literally, I took a class when I was in college. They introduced a class while I was there. It was the first year they ever did it, called Building Your Own Drone. And the professor for that class literally just messaged me on Facebook yesterday saying, "I still want to see you use GPS tracking in a drone," or whatever he phrased it like. And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be great, but," and I put a whole bunch of money signs.
Yeah. Fair enough, man. I've always wanted to get this very specific shot through like my BMX jams, right? Because I always do street jams where like, 60, 70 people will show up and it's just us
Hmm.
mobbing through the streets. But I've always thought it would be really cool to get a drone shot where it's like down at everybody's level, just slightly above, where you can see everybody like riding,
Yeah,
and then it pulls out and up so that like, it's up 300 feet and you can just see how big of like a BMX mob it is essentially.
yeah, yeah. That would be really cool. And there's probably people, if you reached out on the internet, that could help out and do something like that. Looked into one on Kijiji. Guy would build one for you with goggles for 1,500 bucks. See, if I'm gonna spend 1,500 bucks, it's not gonna be on a drone. It's gonna be on whatever broke that I have to spend 1,500 bucks on. Because I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just not spending 1,500 bucks on anything.
Dude, I just bought a new frame and literally the whole time I was like, "Ugh, am I wasting my money here? My other frame's perfectly fine." And like as we talked about in our show the other day, it wasn't perfectly fine. It was 4.5 years old and I needed a new frame.
Yeah.
But um yeah, the whole time and I got a ridiculous deal on it. Like the bike shop Harvester, he gives me unreal deals on all this stuff and like we just kind of work together on all this. But yeah, he was just like, "Yeah, here you go." And even then I was like, "Ugh, am I should I be spending this money?" Like,
Yep. Sometimes you just gotta treat yourself for certain things.
treat yourself.
Yeah. That's kind of why I'm building a whole new bike right now.
I love it, dude. I'm really excited. And after our conversation the other day, I'm guaranteeing that your frame is going to be a sound wave, is it not?
Why do you think that I would say that on the internet? No, I filmed a video on the frame. I'm gonna have a frame reveal video. I was just trying, like, genuinely, I was trying to like build hype behind building a new bike, and I was trying to kind of like take the route that some YouTube people do, not necessarily bicycle people, but like how they take a project that they're working on, they turn it into a series and bring everyone that like watches them along with in the process. Because I've never like done that. I'm normally like, I don't want anyone to know anything until it happens because I want it to be a big surprise. And I'm like, hey, look, I got a new bike. But I wanted it to be different this time, and people are actually getting hyped. Like, I posted that video with the hub yesterday, and someone commented on it in all caps, build the wheel.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm like,
Dude, I haven't built a set of wheels in so long, and it's one of those feelings that I actually like doing. Like you can just sit there and watch stuff and just build wheels for like an hour or two.
well, that's going to be me tomorrow. I'm doing another live stream tomorrow with Kevin
Nice.
from Buffalo. I don't know if you ever met him. Uh, Miscellaneous Kev, or MISC Kev on Instagram.
Maybe I might have heard of them.
He's good friends with Beatrice, but he's going to be on tomorrow teaching me how to build wheels for the third or fourth time.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm
Yes.
excited to see that.
Well, I was just trying to build the hype of like around the bike build, and I think building the wheels will be part of it, which shoot. Just kidding. Just kidding. We're good. It's honestly gotten like confusing because there's like, what have I not put in a video yet, and what have I? What do I want to talk about? Like today, I picked up tires, headset, seat post, bottom bracket, brake cables. I picked up a few things. I'm getting stoked, man, because all I need now to come in are the cranks, and I got to figure out pegs.
Dude, I'm excited to see what cranks you're on.
I am too because there's two options right now, and whichever one gets here first.
Dude, that's crazy. I'm like, I can't even imagine having that where it's like, yeah, I don't know what set of cranks I'm gonna have. I've got two different ones in the mail right now.
I'm very grateful for my position.
Yeah, definitely, eh?
Very,
Um,
very grateful. I've got some awesome people who help me out
oh yeah, dude.
because, like, I can go to Brimstone like I did today, and I can grab the cable I need and the seat post that's hanging on the wall, or the forks that I got literally were in there hanging up. And I was like, yo, I'm building a new bike, and those are the exact forks that I was going to get for it. And he's like, take them. I'm like,
That's wicked.
I can't believe this. This is crazy, man. Like, I just am grateful to be in this position. And I'm definitely never going to take it for granted. I don't want anyone to think that I would either.
Yeah, exactly. And not to interrupt, but this video part right here behind me right now is Caleb in the chat, actually,
He
Caleb
said,
Smith.
yo, peep the screen.
Yeah, yeah, this is his video part. It switches to my buddy Roman right now. Yeah, there we go.
Heck
But
yeah.
he also mentioned in the chat earlier that I have one of the most unique builds in Ontario, which is very true. We didn't actually talk about this, but I run a one lever mod on my bike with the old Primo Pervert.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've got that and then the grind plate on the bottom, which is
Yep.
really interesting, right? Have you ever had any experience trying to set up two brakes with one lever?
No, but I'll be honest, I literally have all of the parts to do that, not even 2 feet away from the camera right now, and I just haven't done it. I've had them for like 2 years, and I just haven't done it yet.
Dude, you should try it. Honestly, if you're I know that at one point you ran front brakes, but I love it, man. The only reason that I even wanted to do it is that when it comes to taking my hands off the bars or anything, I'm really weird where like if I was to do a T-bog, I would catch the lever instead of the bar, like coming
Yeah,
back from it. So I just got so over doing that where I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna run one lever and it's gonna work. And it
yeah.
does. Like it works really well. I actually really like it.
Do you do 5 taps?
Sometimes,
I
not
just
very often.
wonder for tricks like 5 taps how well it like grabs and holds.
I think it depends, right? Like I'm using this stuff which actually is like Chijo's brake tartar through
Oh,
BMX Foo.
oh yeah,
And
that is the
yeah,
good.
yeah, I'm using that stuff. I don't know if you know what it's made of, but I don't
I
think I'm
do.
supposed to say online.
We're
But
not.
yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Uh,
Um
Yeah, that stuff
it's
is the
sick.
best. He literally forced it on me in Buffalo one day. When I met him, we were out riding street and we went to this bank to guard or bank to rail spot, and I was trying to foof it, and I was like pretty much getting it. It was raining, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get this before it like actually rains. And he's like, hey, I got this stuff if you want to use it. I'm like, it was when I first met him, so I'm like, no, I'm good, thanks though. And then I like keep trying it, and then literally just came over and he's like, "Give me your bike," basically, and put
Yeah.
it on there, and it was like, "Yep, I'm never going back."
Yeah, dude, I'll deal with my chrome rim being black for the rest of my life. Like that stuff's incredible. He gave me like literally a huge supply of it. So I'm set. Like honestly, I don't think I'll ever have to run brakes without it for
Yeah,
the rest of my life. Like he gave me a ridiculous amount of it.
that's funny because Charlie did the same thing for me last time I was in Buffalo because I about
Yeah.
ran out of the stuff that she gave me.
Dude, that's sick that you rode with Charlie though. Charlie is like, quite the legend in Canada even though he's not Canadian realistically.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to get back up there soon. We've ridden a few different times up there, and it's always been awesome. The one session we had was with it was Charlie, Chi, Joel Fortin, Greg Henry, Brandon Began was there. Then there was a couple other people who didn't really ride that were there, but they're also merit dudes. That was the session at that bank to rail, and dude, it was good.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, even, like, just riding with all of those dudes in general, like, one-on-one is
Hmm.
sick, and to have all of them together is pretty wild. Greg is he's real sick, man. His riding is so dope, and he's just been like a BMX foo legend for years, right? Like literally
Yep.
the very beginning. Um yeah, he's really sick. I really like Greg. I really never actually talked to him either, which is interesting, but he's really cool.
Man. Yeah, he's a rad dude. And they were all at a skate park jam that Kevin hosted at Lancaster Skate Park, I think, in New York, kind of near Buffalo. The Heroes and Zeros jam that he would host on a yearly basis. I don't think they did it last year because of obvious reasons. But
Yeah.
yeah, they were all at that jam, and then afterwards we went and rode street, and it was just a really good time. Like everybody did good stuff at this spot. Every single person that actually was like riding at the spot, and I was stoked because I like halfway. I feel like I might have invented a trick there. It was that
Ooh,
60-40 pedal crook that I did
nice.
on the
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've ever seen anybody do that. I don't think so.
it was in the Fire Mids video.
That's pretty sick. Yeah, dude, Fire Mids was such a, like, interesting video, right? I love that, like, it kind of came together as, like, almost like this meme video, considering that it's, like, the fallen symbol and then the monster, like, energy logo,
Yeah.
like, just together. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
Talking to Charlie about that was, really cool. He really enjoyed working on that.
he's got a really unique like approach to making videos that
Dude, to everything.
well, you're right there. I think that like if because it's him, it works and he does a good job at it, but I think if anybody tried to like copy it, it would be annoying to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. He does such a good job of it. And even like, just the music selection and everything. Like, I think he had Thin Lizzy, The Boys Are Back in Town as like one of the video parts, but it's all like, Ontario dudes essentially, which
Yeah.
was really sick. Just that kind of stuff. He does such a good job on.
Yeah. If you had to pick one city in the US to travel for a BMX trip, where would it be? Oh my gosh.
Oh, dude, that's tough. Honestly,
Hmm.
it's really difficult because for me personally, I feel like I've been invited to go out to California and ride with like Ethan and Denim and those dudes, but then also like I want to go to Austin because Austin, Texas is like, dude, that's where it's at. Like that is, one of the biggest BMX capitals in the world. Like I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
the three major capitals is like Austin, Texas, Huntington Beach, and Barcelona. Like just those areas are like literally where everybody kind of congregates.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I went to Long Beach and LA or whatever in 2019 and it being it was like just different. Like like if you go for example, like if you went to Joyride and all of the big name local people were there that you know and are like psyched to see and ride with and whatever, like it even that is almost not comparable to what it was like to be like because we went accidentally the weekend of the Vans Pro Cup Championship. So like
Dude,
we showed up at the Huntington Beach Vans Park and like I think that was a moment where it really set in what I was like doing with BMX and like my history with it and stuff because it was like every single person that I saw and recognized from the internet was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Who?
yeah, dude,
Like what? Me? No, what?"
yeah,
And so it was like the only thing that it could even compare to, and it, I mean, I guess it doesn't compare because it's totally different. Is like Baco at
nice.
Jellystone being on the deck with Patty Gross, Bobby Altizer, TJ Henderson, Daniel Dares was there, Hollywood from Ohio, Dan Sieg was there that first year. Trying to think of who else. There was Nick Harkins. There's just so many. Patrick Kelly was there that first year. There was so many just legendary break dudes all there in one group. And like having a session with those guys, like, as one of them is probably the highest highlight of BMX for me ever.
Dude, that's wild. Yeah, those Baco guys are nuts, man. They kill it. They're honestly all so good. We had Brian Vowell on the show a little while ago, and just hearing him talk about like, the Baco dudes is pretty wild, man. Like those guys are so good. One of my dream guests is actually Dave Frymouth because he is just so next level. He is the perfect example of mid school. Just the helmet with the hat underneath
Yeah.
is like, dude, that's mid school right there.
Yeah, and, like, being in the middle of a session with those guys, or at least the 2016 era of those guys,
Right.
because, some of them weren't riding anymore. Frymouth was at that event, and, like, when I won the best trick at that event, he was the one who, like, announced or whatever and gave the prize away or whatever it was.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, it was cool, but, like, I feel like it's almost embarrassing to say this, but, like, I learn in BMX through situations like that. So, like, before that, I don't really know who Dave Frymouth was or that much about him.
Yeah.
So it's like people are make a huge deal out of the fact that he's there and everything, and I'm like,
Who is this?
they're like, "What? I don't know." Like, the funniest example of this story was the first time a video of mine and my buddy Sponge's. Oh, there's the Triangle World.
That is the pyramid Earth right there.
Uh,
It's a pyramid, bro.
I'm sorry. The first time that the video is called Sponge and Brant, and
Yep.
that first time one of our videos ever got put on the come up, uh, Sponge. The next time I went to the skate park and saw him, he was talking about. He's like, it's pretty cool what Adam said about our video because like that guy sees a lot of videos, and like my response literally was like, who? Like the dude that I sent the
Dude,
video
yeah.
to who posted it, I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Oh man, that's funny. Not to interrupt, this is actually my video part behind you,
Oh,
so
we
you'll
gotta
see
pay
some of
attention
my
here.
riding.
All right, I'm gonna
Um,
react.
there you
YouTubers
go, dude.
react.
I'm down. I'll tell some stories throughout it.
Oppo
So
Feeps
this one actually
180.
used to be right behind my dad's house. Yes, I land whips to frame. Sue me.
Nothing wrong with it.
Like that's what I do.
Got the three
Um,
into the bank. Oh
yeah,
man, I almost can't see. Yep, that's a full send.
there we go. This Oversmith
Are
180,
you
that was
are you
fun.
goofy footed or you just do opposite grinds?
I'm opposite grinds. I'm
Okay,
not goofy footed, I'm just opposite grinds.
okay.
And I was only running rear brakes at this time, so I wasn't able to do any cool front brake tricks. This
What?
ditch is really cool. Caleb actually just found this the other day after we were finished riding. He like sends me a Snapchat. He's like, "Bro, look what I found." I'm like, "I've known about this spot for like 6 years,
My
dude."
whole entire life.
Yeah. This is actually about 30 seconds from my house, and that was one of the scariest things I've done is like
Yeah,
big
I
gap to
wouldn't want to
Smith.
mess with that. Like that's the kind of thing. Oh, that's sick.
That was
That
a
was
good
like
spot.
fun. Uh, got the rail.
Yeah, midnight rails, 180 over a chain. It's hard to see there.
Yeah, I
Um,
couldn't see it, but it's there. Gap to
this spot is
manual.
sick. It's
It
like a
looks
gap
like a
to
fun
manual.
spot.
Yeah. Yeah, gap to manual, and then this big rail hop. I've done way bigger ones too. Like there's a
Jeez.
photo here of me um that is gnarly. Like I'll have to see if I can pull that up at some point. This is really cool. That's like York University in Toronto area. This big like 24 stair wooden rail, or not wooden rail, but like wooden stair rail.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ooh,
But
that's
then these are
neat.
cool.
Whale tail
Yeah,
thing.
I wish I would have done something better on that. And this rail, I was trying to do pegs 180, and I ended up knocking my teeth out again,
Oh, is
like for
that
like the
you at
fifth
that
time.
point? I didn't
Yeah,
realize.
big gap right
Jeez,
there.
that's huge.
Yeah, and then what do we got here? I think this is the clip here. This is the two-story roof into my buddy's ramp.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and the wait for this, like right into his fence, destroyed his fence, and then beer can right to the fucking helmet. Just so stoked.
Jeez. Heck yeah,
Yeah, that's
dude.
long hair goat there. You didn't even get to see that, Brant. I had like long, strangly,
Oh, I see it right
terrible looking
now.
hair.
That's
It's
a
great.
that's a
Matched up
grimy
perfectly with
BMX
my
rider if I ever saw one.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways, I wanted to ask you, Brent, what Canadian city would you visit if you could for BMX riding? That's a tough
Are
one,
you
eh?
gonna be offended
No.
if I say I want to go ride with Brody Gwilliam?
Who?
Oh, Bush League,
Dude, I'm gonna get so many people like shit talking me in the chat right now. I feel bad. I'm like, who
Bush
is
League
that?
1, 2, 3, and 4, whatever. You don't know those videos?
Nope.
You are going to be so excited when you watch them.
Cool. I will. Yeah, send me a link to them afterwards.
His name is Brody Gwilliam. He's usually in the chat. I'm surprised he's not, especially being that you're from Canada and he would know that.
Yeah,
But he, uh, I think he works on. Yeah, it's Bad for Life.
nice.
He works on. I think he works on. I can't say that for sure, but his parents have like a giant farm, like one of those like insane huge farms with all this equipment. So his videos, the Bush League videos, are literally him like riding street on farm equipment. So like he's got the most insane setups that he gets figured out, and he's got all these ramps that he's built and stuff that he's riding in there. And they have this building. Oh, it's in Saskatoon. Uh, but he's got this building that's got a ramp setup in it that's just a really cool ramp setup, and I have wanted to go and ride with that guy forever.
Dude, that would be really cool. I was gonna suggest, if you ever have the chance, check out Montreal. It's literally like just spot after spot after spot. Like you literally can't like go around the block without seeing one of the craziest spots ever. And it's where like, a lot of big name pros have gone to film video parts and whatnot. Obviously, Toronto, the scene is sick. Vancouver with all the like bowls and whatnot.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
lots of good Canadian stuff.
Canada is on the list. It's just one of those things that's like hard to just do and make happen.
Dude, you can't even come to our country right now. We're not
Literally,
gonna
see,
let you in.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Like,
they
it's
don't even want me
wild.
right now. They know
Yeah.
that I will do every single Fufanu and ice pick.
Yeah, I love it. This is, my buddy Jesse's video part behind us. We spent probably the full length of Space Goats filming this, and it
Jeez.
ended up, like we had, like, 9 minutes, and I think we used 4 because we were just like, "Let's make the greatest, like, Jesse video part ever," and by the end of it, it gets, like I mean, the whole thing is just banger after banger, but by the end of it, it's like, "Dude, like, what is happening?"
Yeah,
Just like
there's something to be said about learning the skill of trimming the fat in a BMX video,
yeah,
and I'm glad that I started as early as I did to realize that, because that first like full length video that I made, there's a couple sections in there where there's like repeat tricks in a section because like I just used everything that I had and I didn't realize or recognize that like you don't need to use everything that you have.
yeah.
And obviously you've learned the same, being that you turned a 9-minute video into a 4-minute one to make it the best thing that it can be.
Definitely, man. And I was honestly kind of convincing, like I was trying to convince him because a lot of it was stuff that wasn't really repeats, where I was like, dude, we should like just try and make a really long, good video part, like a Garrett Reynolds-esque, like 9 minute, just full banger part. But he was like, nah, let's just stick with like, the best of the best, which I was like, okay, we'll do that. We'll make it happen. And it ended up working out pretty good. I feel like that was probably the right decision in the
Yeah,
long run.
it usually is. I felt like one thing that really made the Lip Lords videos what they are is the fact that I limited them to be as short as I could make them while still being long enough to be a video.
Yeah, definitely. And that last clip before this 180 was actually Jesse doing, I think, Smith hard 180 and cracking his sound wave. I'm like, dude,
Oh,
gnarly. He like shreds that thing though.
that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, definitely not easy to do. Um, but yeah, it's just funny because I'm like, the sound wave is by far one of the strongest frames in BMX. So to see that kind of happen is like, dude, you're shredding,
Yep. Yep, it
his big
doesn't.
full cab.
Jeez. What
Yeah,
year
man.
was this?
This was all filmed like 2, 3 years ago, or like we released it. I guess a year ago or 2 years ago. I guess now.
Dang. See,
Yeah.
that's the part of why I have there's no appeal to me to trying to like ride technical in street like that, because the second that he does that full cab down a stair set, if he does that at the beginning of filming, it could be like a progressive trick. But then
Yeah.
2 years later, you got Garrett and Lewis in their real BMX videos doing full cab bars,
It's
and
full cab whip.
oh, whatever.
Not to correct you, but full cab whip.
Full cab whip, like that's even crazier. Like
Yeah.
to go from something being progressive in just a couple of years to being like, oh, that's cool. Oh, I like that.
Dude.
How did you even do that?
With the clouds?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the clouds were actually done as a time lapse beforehand, and then,
Yep.
when we filmed it, the sky was just super blue, so essentially just the same thing as
Oh,
using a
use a blue
green screen,
screen.
right?
Blue
Yeah.
screened it.
Yeah, dude, it was, pretty great. This clip is nuts with, like, this massive stair
Yeah,
set,
that
and
is
then,
sweet.
this is his ender clip here, which was just like, dude, so wild. This nice big pegs crank, and that was, I swear to God, the first try, like, that he has ever actually attempted that. Like, there was a couple, like, run-ups, where he just, like, pegs it, tries to figure it out, and then just first try, like,
That's
fully locked.
sick. See, that's another perfect example of something that like is progressive when it's happening, but if you take too long to put the video out, it's just normal.
That's the thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he killed it on his part, man. It's by far one of my favorite parts in the video. Caleb, don't get sad, my friend. Your part was second favorite. You're pretty great, man.
Yeah, it definitely, that was a really good section, and he definitely is a shredder.
Yeah, definitely, man. Oh, what was I gonna ask? I had something a second ago, but I can't remember. Dude,
Yo,
anybody in the live chat, ask me some questions, man. I
there's
finally
one
have my
right here.
phone
Your
open.
room is sick. Does that VX still work?
Dude, I don't know if you knew this, and I talk about it all the time on my show, and I'm happy that I can now talk about it to a different audience. This VX right here does not work. However, this VX actually filmed Anthem 2 from Stu Johnson.
How did you get that?
So, Jeff Kosis ended up winning it in the Anthem reissue giveaway. So basically, you buy like a burn
Yeah, I
sticker
know
and then the
that.
video. Yeah. So he ended up winning it. And I messaged Jeff right away. I was like, dude, I need that camera. Like, Anthem 2 is by far one of my favorite videos of all time. I love everything that Stu has done over the years. And like, Stu even knows that.
Yeah,
But I ended up just like, sending him a message, and I believe he had heard of the show, but he also knew that I was a Canadian dude, so he like messaged Chris Silva right away. He's like, "Hey man, what's up with this goat guy? Like he wants to buy this VX. Is he just gonna try and use it and fuck with it, or like what's the deal?" And he's like, "Dude, that guy will hold on to that thing forever. Like that camera will stay on that shelf and never get used.
yeah,
It's a history piece." And that's it, man. It does work. I've plugged a battery into it once and immediately pulled it out and was like, "Nope, I don't need to do anything with it." Like it's not like I'm gonna film anything on it.
yeah. That's a really, really cool story.
Yeah, let me grab a couple more things in here too, because I've got a couple really cool BMX pieces throughout the
Okay,
studio.
I'm into it. While he's doing that, got to give a gigantic shout out and thank you to 20 Grip for that $10 super chat directly supporting the channel. Appreciate that, man. As always, I appreciate your support. And Jeff, I hear what you're saying about the Park Ranger frame, but I hear what I'm saying about it doesn't have a lifetime warranty. Yeah, that goat guy. That was really funny. That goat guy. What's the easiest way to upload footage with the VX nowadays? I would guess capturing it in Premiere with a Firewire on a Mac that has a Firewire port or a dongle if you could get one.
Okay, so I only pulled two more things down, but there is other things throughout the office. I just don't want to have to mess around and grab them.
Yeah, I got you.
So this is a Crandall painting of a goat, which
Nice.
is pretty sweet to get. My good buddy Jeff Robertson gave this to me after doing my podcast. But it's got like Crandall's signature heart at the bottom that he like signs everything with, essentially.
Yeah.
So to have like a Crandall painting is pretty sick. And then this is really cool. This is a print of Rick Thorne and Tony Hawk riding his warehouse, and
Wow.
it's signed by both of them. And that was pretty sick. I was like, owning that is awesome. You know, like I will
Whoa.
never do anything with it. It's just gonna sit like right across from me when I do my show, but it's pretty sick to have that, you know?
Yeah, that's really cool. Those are
Yeah, and
2
then
awesome.
this frame behind me is actually a Sabrosa double top tube frame. I don't know if you ever saw the
Nice.
Pandoras. I had two of those. So I've got
Nice.
two of those right there.
Dang, you're like a BMX aficionado.
Dude, I'm trying to get like a decent collection of stuff. Like I've got a couple magazines and a couple videos and whatnot, but um I would love to like just pick up more like weird history pieces within BMX. So
Heck yeah.
if anybody that's listening right now owns some cool thing in BMX that I know about, dude, send it my way. You know, I'll definitely work out a price with you.
I got a couple things you might be interested in, but first I wanna go back
Ooh.
to this VX topic real quick because I can't get it out of my head and I wanna say it, that when I was going to school, I went to school in Columbus at the Columbus College of Art and Design, but they had 3 VX 2000s that worked that no one ever used.
Really?
Yep. 3 of
Dude,
them
that
that
is
just sat
wild.
around and did nothing, and it was funny because I'm like, I know so many people who would kill for this camera. Then
Dude,
the other thing is somebody asked the easiest way to upload footage with the VX nowadays, and my answer was just probably a Mac into Premiere with a FireWire.
yep. Yeah, that's basically it. Like, dude, everybody always talks about, or like I've seen it online, right? And I've purchased one of them being an idiot, but there's these cables that are supposed to be firewire to USB. They don't work. So anybody who is trying to sell you one of those, tell them to screw off. They don't work at all. You need the specific firewire, like, into the camera to firewire out. And yeah, it's interesting. I haven't done anything with tape in years just because I've always had a hard time with it and I just don't like using tape.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, like I do get why people enjoy it, even as much as I don't like, I could go on a whole rant on why I believe that people should look at other cameras than just the VX, but yeah,
yeah, understandable. Cool. I'm glad that I have sound advice on something that I have no experience with.
I love it.
uh, but to the memorabilia thing, I have orchid shoes that were
Ooh.
directly bought by myself from Van Homan and Wiz.
Ooh, dude, those are two awesome names right there. Van
And
Homan is like the hero of BMX, man. I love Van. He's sick.
there's probably one, two, three, four, five, six pairs
Really?
between
Dude.
them. 7, I guess, actually, because there's one on the floor.
Now, are any of them signed?
I have the when Wiz sent the big box of shoes because I bought like 6 pairs at one time. He
Yeah.
signed the box with his signature. I didn't even ask him to. I just like I
Oh, that's
wanted them. I'm
awesome.
like, I don't care who you are. I just want the orchids and they're on eBay and I want them.
That's awesome. Yeah, getting those from Wiz is pretty sick. He's pretty sick, dude. He's awesome.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like throughout the studio, you can't see it on this side, but I have like a few like letters and stuff that people have sent me just kind of like up on the wall.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever get any fan mail, but honestly, I've been getting so much of it that I think I'm gonna start doing like a unboxing like fan mail thing maybe once every couple months. But it's just so difficult because I'm like, I don't want to just hang on to these things. I want to open them and see what I had like sent.
Yeah. How do you do it? Because I haven't publicly put any type of address or anything out there.
Dude, I don't I need to get a PO box. I just wait. Like I tell people, send me a DM if you have something and we'll work out a way to do it. And I get people to just send it to my address,
Gotcha.
which isn't smart at all, is not
Yeah.
smart, but we have a security camera and a bunch of other stuff kind of set up and everybody in the neighborhood knows like, you know, um and I don't know, I just am like, ugh, you know, I
Yeah.
wanna get a PO box, that's probably the next step. I think I'm getting to the point where I need to do that, especially after an incident over the, winter.
Well, how much
We're not
is
gonna
a
get into
PO
that, though.
box? I'm curious because, like, my dad has a business that isn't super far from where we
Yeah,
live that I like. It's a public business address. So, like, if somebody wants to send something, I'll usually give them that address because, like, what's it gonna hurt?
yeah.
And I've thought about the whole PO box thing, but I also am like, I'm still at the point where I feel like nobody would want to send anything, or it might be like one thing every like couple months. And I'm like, well, do I really want to pay for a PO box, or should I just like tell people to, I don't know, keep whatever they would want to send?
I would think with your, like, I don't know, size on YouTube and your, like, audience, it would be better just to do a PO box or just send it to a separate address. I could probably do the same thing, but, dude, I always just know who sent me stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah,
most of the time, it's people that don't live anywhere near here, so it's
right.
like, I guess show up if you want, it's gonna take you days.
Yeah, it'd
Like
be work.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll regret that at one point, I can almost guarantee it.
right. That's the whole thing of it.
Yeah.
50 a year, $70 a year. I mean, I guess it's also a write-off if I were to do that. It's just one of those things. I don't know. If more people would like, if somebody would say that, or if people would actually want to send something, I might do it. But until there's people
Dude, just put it
expressing it,
out there.
what?
Like, literally just put it out there. Just put a thing out saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about opening up a PO box. If you guys have any stickers or anything you wanna send me," you would not believe the amount of stickers and, like, shirts that I get from people, like, just listeners or, like, guests and stuff, and,
Yeah,
it's sick, like, I really enjoy it, you
I
know?
guess I just battle in my head this thing of like, it feels like you're, I don't know, I'm weird. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm asking people, you know?
No, I get that. Yeah, it's very, like I understand that, you know? It's definitely,
I'm weird.
I yeah. Oh, man. That's funny, but, yeah, dude, just put it out there. Maybe, like, if it's only, like, 50 bucks a year, what's it really, like, hurt, you know?
I
What is
guess,
that, like, almost 5 bucks a month? Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll see. I'll make a community tab post and put a poll up
see what
there and
people are
see.
saying. Yeah, definitely, dude. It'd be a good way to like, I think for as someone who like kind of looks at it this way, it's a great way for people to send you something and get like a shout out, you know? And I know
That's
that like
true.
it sounds weird, but most people would love to like I guarantee there's a lot of people that would love to send you something just so that like they can see that you actually have it now.
That's true. I mean, that's the OG BMX in the chat. He sent me an orchid banner and
Nice.
a gyro plate that is currently on my bike.
Is that the total one
No,
or is it a different gyro
I
too?
bought that one for my new bike.
I'm excited to see how you like it because I have always had an issue with gyro spacing, even though I keep my stuff extremely tight. Like my brakes literally move maybe 3 millimeters and like they're fully locked. But
Yeah.
I would love to try out one of those total ones. So let me know how you feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I realized after I ordered it that I already had one that I could use. But I was thinking about it too, and I'm like, is it really possible for the gyro plate to be wide enough to fit the stem, but also skinny enough for the gyro to actually like, because if the gyro hits the bottom of the gyro plate where it's on the fork, then the top part of it being raised doesn't do anything anyways. Like,
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter where it hits. If it hits and it
If it hits, it doesn't do anything.
exactly. So I wasn't sure. I'm gonna have to check it out. Maybe the gyro that I have is big enough that it will actually give you more room. But I came to that realization. I was like, oh, sweet. I didn't need to spend this $20, but oh well.
I love it. Dude, setting up my, Mike Escamilla frame, it was a pain in the ass, dude. That was the worst thing I've ever had to deal with for, like, headset spacing and gyro and whatnot. Everything on this bike was, like, super weird compared to, like, my last frame.
Yeah.
Everything that, like, I threw on my last one worked perfectly, no issues at all. This one, I had, like, weird bottom bracket spacing issues, and then when it came to the headset and the gyro, I had to switch out the cap for my headset, like, 6 or 7 times to try and find one that would actually work perfectly where it's not
Yup.
gonna grab the gyro, which is interesting. I'm like, "Why are we making gyros so tightly fitted?" Like, it
That
doesn't matter. You can make them a little bit, like, bigger.
well, there's that, and also the fact of there's no thought behind where the gyro tabs are actually drilled into the frame. So like I looked at it on my current sound wave, and I even gave feedback to Sunday directly that you can definitely lower those gyro tabs by like a quarter of an inch and still not hit the top tube with your gyro. And then there's also the concept of head tubes being so extremely tall that you have not enough room with your forks to give you like enough travel for your gyro. Then there's also you have to get your spacing exactly right so you can have as much possible room that you can get while still also being able to grab the threads in your forks to tighten your headset.
Yeah, it's funny how, companies are now pandering to the 99% of people that don't ride gyros.
Well, I think it's more or less just the fact that people aren't giving feedback. Like the whole gyro tab being able to be lower thing is probably because no one has even considered it. And
Yeah.
it's not like it would hurt anything for them to be like, "Oh, we can lower that a little bit. Let's just have them lower it," because it's probably not like a vital part of the jig in making a frame, I would guess, because it's literally just drilling the holes and tapping them out.
Yeah,
A
I can
straight
see
cable would
that.
solve all of that. First of all, hashtag send Brant a tour bus, hashtag airbag fund, hashtag blow up doll slash landing pad, hashtag tour bus fund. There's this thing where people on my YouTube channel like to make up things that I'm going to be contributing my super chats towards. The RV fund was the funny one.
Dude, do it. Dude, my dream, like, literally Taylor and I, my, beautiful lamb, AKA my, girlfriend, she and I are going to buy a school bus, and we're gonna build it out to be a home/traveling podcast studio. That's, like, exactly what we wanna do. So, dude, I gotta say, you guys gotta get on that because that would be sick.
What I gotta say though is 40 grand left in student loan debt.
Fair enough.
As soon as that, so here's the thing. I'll be honest here, because there's a lot of news in America of the people pressuring the president to forgive federal student loans.
Yeah.
If that were to happen, I would literally sell all of my cryptocurrency tomorrow and pay off my private student loans and be debt free overnight.
Dude, this guy's got Bitcoin.
No,
Like,
I got ETH.
oh, nice. There you go. I don't know anything about that shit, man. I gotta learn because it's like it's the new thing, dude. Sitting there and watching all the stuff with like GameStop, I was like, God damn, dude, why can't I be one of the people that invested a bunch of money into that?
Speaking of GameStop, holy crap. No, just kidding, not holy crap. But yeah, I was looking at that too. I saw a bunch of it like too late. I didn't get to get in on that, but what I
Right.
actually got in on was Dogecoin. Like
Nice. I heard that that went up. Yeah.
Last March is when I bought it, and if I would have just kept what I have now from last March, oh my God, dude, I would have literally, hold on a second.
Caleb in the chat says he's heading out. Caleb, talk to you later, man. You're the homie. Peace out. Old fat guy BMX. I love it. I have a sticker that I just put on my desk the other day from Ride On, and it says, "Grumpy old BMX men."
I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to figure out how much I actually had. Yeah. Oh my God, dude, 20 grip.
Another super chat.
Quit
I
it.
love it.
Let me see here. Point 1.4. Okay, I'd have 40 grand if I wouldn't have sold any of my Dogecoin
Oh
until
my
now.
god.
Yeah, but I caught a wave on that, and like
Yeah,
it went up a lot, and then I moved it over into ETH. So like it's pretty good. But I am gonna tell anyone right now, think twice or 500 times before you get involved with these things. And if you do, don't panic if it drops and cuts in half, because more than likely a couple months
it's
from
gonna come
then
back.
it's going to come back. And I watched my buddy Cody have the exact thing happen where he's like, he was talking to me about it, and I'm like, dude, be wary. It can literally, it'll probably drop the second after you buy it, and it's going to be scary, and you're going to want to sell it. And I was like, and then he did, and then it dropped, and then he sold it, and then yesterday it went up way above where he bought it at, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that's tough, man. Yeah, I know that a lot of people lost a lot of money when it came to GameStop because they were just like, "Oh, dude, it's going to the moon,"
You
just
don't buy
grab on.
something that was at $40 at $400 because you're gonna lose. And
Yeah,
20 grip with that super chat again. Hashtag small tiny camper for our CRV fund.
I love it.
That's more doable. Even then, like I really would love to get one of those big vans, sprinter van type deals, like Spencer Forsman did, where he put a
Yeah.
shower in it. Like I would want to put a shower in it and make it like a legit hotel room inside.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Listen to OFG.
sorry, no, continue.
No, I was just reading his comment and laughing about it. I don't want to talk about finance anymore because I don't want anyone to try and blame me whenever their Dogecoin cuts in half tomorrow.
Brant, I put $16,000 into Dogecoin and it fucking dropped. What the hell, man?
I told you not to do that.
Oh, man.
What were you about to
Um,
say?
Anyways, I was gonna say, dude, a lot of people are really into that sprinter van life. Mike Mastroni did it for like a year.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy, dude. Like a single van. I guess if you're just like a single BMX dude, what's it matter, really, right? Like, but that's the thing where I'm like, we need a school bus because we are literally there's the two of us and we need enough space. And our plan is like we're not gonna live in it for a year. We're gonna live in it for 5 to 10. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be a long-term thing.
Yeah, and that totally makes sense. My only thing with the school bus is just gas mileage at that point, but like I don't know. If I'm ever going to have something like that, I'm going to be at a point in life where I don't care because
Yeah.
I'm not going to have to care.
Yeah, fair enough, eh? That'd be awesome.
There's one for the A counter.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I wonder how many we should have done that. We should have set that up. If I ever come back on, we will set up a counter,
I'm into it.
unlike other Canadian things.
Oh damn it. There was a couple things I was going to tell you. One, you should do a bike check. Two, you should film the progress with the van and combine it with BMX videos. So you got like
Yeah,
2 minute van check per, or not van, bus
bus
update
check, yeah.
in videos that, with like riding and stuff, because people are psyched on that. People like to follow along with things.
That's the goal, man. I'm just trying to build out the following a little bit more before we get into any of that.
Right. Yeah. See, dude, I screwed up with some of the stuff. Like, I put maximum effort into several things that I did and put days and days and days into them to have them just go nowhere because I had 100 subscribers at the time. Like, we did and Sean Stefferson in the chat's going to be psyched I'm talking about it. Uh, we did a Nerf battle at the skate park, and we filmed it with like 3 different cameras, one with a GoPro, and I put days into editing it. Made it basically, it's like a Dude Perfect video if you watch it. And it got like 300 views.
Oof. Yeah, that's rough,
I
eh?
was heartbroken. Then we did one where we did Easter egg tricks at this, or Easter egg hunt for tricks at Ray's. Like in the one room, we had my girlfriend and somebody else hiding eggs, and then a buddy and I came out and we found them, and then we had to do the tricks that were in the eggs.
Oh, that's smart. I think I've seen that, to be honest.
Yeah, it was fun, but it was the kind of thing that I feel like we I mean, it was cool to do it whenever I had the idea, but like if I did something like that today, it would probably do way better than however long ago that was.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, eh? I'm like, I always put so much effort into my podcast and like the video of it, and then like the video gets nothing compared to the audio, but that's just how it is. It's like I'm stupid for thinking that it's going to be the other way around when it comes to like podcasting because most people just listen to it.
Right.
Anyways, old fat guy BMX says that I should do a bike check. I'm going to do it just for you, my
What can
friend.
you do
We'll see
with your
that very, very soon.
Good. You should. Um,
Absolutely.
Here's my question for people that are watching. Do you think anybody would be bummed if I re-uploaded a video like that?
I feel like just coming from this kind of perspective, when you're super like far along from then and you've gained a lot of subscribers, and let's be real here with the video count that you have, it's hard for people to go all the way back. So I feel like if you just take like, the classic Brant Moore videos and then upload them again, that could be sick. Like
Wow.
even if you just did it as like maybe a live stream or something where you show them, um, and even maybe do like a video behind the scenes talking about what went into that.
Yeah, 'cause
Friday
like,
flops. That's what you could call it.
well, what I was thinking, because I'm looking at this BMX skate park Nerf War video, and I definitely have to re-edit the thumbnail because I didn't know what I was doing then. It's a good thumbnail, but it needs some work. Uh, but that was uploaded May 6th, 2018. It has 762 views.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking like same thing as old fat guy BMX. You've got a whole new audience. You should really just give her a try.
I think I
Carter in the
might do
chat,
that. What's up,
he
Carter?
says, "How you doing?" I'm wonderful, Carter. How are you, my friend?
So there's also the thing, so I was going through because I made the thumbnail for that hub, and I was looking for a specific logo that I remade years ago. And in doing that, I found a folder of uh, clips that I was filming, like Instagram clips, or what's the Instagram stuff is the folder, and it's got probably 16 different folders within that all have footage that I filmed for Instagram from 2014 before I had a YouTube channel. And it's all the raw footage. I'm like, dude, I think I could remake or I could edit some of that and put it on here because it literally doesn't exist other than in 15-second form.
I love it. That could be awesome.
I kind of felt the same. I'm definitely gonna do that.
Yeah,
Wow.
that would be really cool, man. I bet you that would work out really well. Dude, I never even see this background on my computer. I'm like, is it going to disappear in a second? It's
No.
like one of those classic ones. I've like never seen it. That's funny. Oh, it did disappear. That's why. That's why I never see it.
Yep.
Oh man.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely, dude. What was I going to mention here? I had something a second ago. Let's see what the
Sorry, I didn't
chat
mean
is
to
saying.
interrupt you. Oh, how's everybody doing today? It is painful to watch my first episodes. You want to hear something about old fat guy BMX?
Absolutely.
I
I want to hear
remember
everything.
watching his first videos and seeing his subscriber count and being like, "Oh, I can't wait till I pass him one day. He's my competition right now. Like, I'm hungry. Like, one day I'm gonna get past him, and then I'm gonna just keep on trucking and whatever." Because I just look at, like, I look at fellow BMX YouTubers like not necessarily like competition, but like,
It's a
oh, I
friendly
can't wait till I
competition
get to
thing.
their level one day.
Yeah,
And he was one of the very first with that, and he was above me way back in the day.
that's wild, eh?
Yeah, it's cool though because now I know him. We've met. He's been in my videos. I've been in his videos.
That's pretty sick, man. Yeah, it's cool that at least for like the most part, when it comes to like BMX and just media and whatnot, everybody is pretty cool together. Like you really don't see anything where it's like, two YouTube BMX guys that like hate each other. It doesn't really happen. And for the most part, people will like collaborate and whatnot. Like you look at Billy Perry, Austin Augie, as well as Anthony Panza. All those dudes are like all from that one kind of area, and they're huge. Those are like literally three of the biggest BMX YouTube channels in the world.
Right. Oh, fat guy said, "I'm not your competition. I'm your biggest cheerleader, brother." I feel the same way
Oh, that's
about
awesome.
you, which is why I get bummed whenever you don't get to make videos for a long time.
I love it.
That
That's
I didn't
awesome.
mean to say competition, but like I don't know what exactly mean.
It's a friendly competition thing. It's nothing like where you're like, dude, I can't wait to beat you because you suck. It's nothing like that. It's literally like, I want to be where you are because you're doing such a good job and I want to be there as well.
Yeah.
Like I want my content to be as good as yours essentially.
Yeah, and he had like even from the very beginning, I don't know if you've ever seen any of his videos, but he has confidence on camera. Like it was like a this is just me kind of thing. Like he's like, "Look, my name is Stony and I'm an old fat guy who's trying to relearn BMX and this is my journey." And it is just really cool to watch, honestly.
That's awesome, dude. Everything with that, right? Because like as I just mentioned there a second ago, like all those, New York dudes, not everybody's into that. There's a whole group of people that would love, his videos rather than those other guys. Like
Yeah.
it's just how it works out. That's the cool thing about like online video creation and whatnot is that like everybody's content is going to be different.
Yep. And that's what's cool about BMX these days is that everything exists and that people get to choose which things they consume.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, it works out really well, right? Like, and what I love about like having all these different mediums and platforms and whatnot too is that like people can just reach out to you super easily. Like, this is such a great thing for people who are a fan of your content is like just sitting down with a different content creator and being able to chat with your people, It's awesome.
Mm, for sure. It's really cool and it hopefully it gets people over to your stuff to check out what you've got going on because there's a lot to listen to. And if I feel like there was a point in BMX where there's so many like BMX podcasts all at one time that were going on, and people were like binging all of them. But right now, there's not as many, so it's like easier to digest them. So the fact that someone might not have heard of what you've been doing is like awesome for people who haven't heard because then they get to go back and be like, "What? There's 90 episodes of this? What? You had Behringer on? What? You also had Tate Roskelly and all these other people on?"
Yeah, dude, it's pretty sick and like, not to toot my own horn here or anything, but I have been doing it basically one episode a week, which is more than any other BMX podcast, and I put my heart and soul into each episode. I spend hours and hours and hours, if not days, working on like questions, research, and just trying to figure out what I can do to make it better for people,
Yeah,
And it's worked out.
and I do know because I came into your podcast and you had so many well prepared questions where like I started this today and I'm like, yep, I didn't write anything down. We're just gonna send it and see what happens. And you just take like the exact opposite approach. And I was really impressed with the amount of different things that you had.
Definitely. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's interesting because like I've just always kind of done it that way. And I think it was mainly like I don't know, it's weird because I don't listen to any podcasts that are scripted. Everything that I, like, consume and that I listen to is very, like, unscripted, just supposed to be kind of fun, off the top of their heads or whatever, but that's just not the way that I kinda do stuff. I like to really go back and look at the history, so
I think it's kind of better that way too because you're always going to find different things to talk about than, let's say, our BMX does an Unclick podcast with Brian Vowell tomorrow. It's going to be a completely different podcast than what you did, especially with, like, yeah, Fudger does prepare some questions, and Dennis I think might too, but your questions and his questions, some of them might be overlapping a little bit, but they're going to be different. And then if you compare it to, like, if I did one with Brian Vowell, it would be like completely different than anything else too, just because it's not prepared whatsoever.
definitely, and I don't have, like, any, I don't know, I don't like, anybody that does do, like, unprepared content, I have nothing against it. I actually have a lot of respect for it because just doing these live streams, I'm always, like, super nervous beforehand because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, man, we gotta think of stuff to talk about. What am I gonna do? What are we gonna talk about?" But, yeah, I don't know. I think I just sometimes I rely on my script a little too much, and I need to kind of move away from it sometimes. But I do enjoy having a lot of really good scripted questions ready to go.
It's freestyle, and you did a good job at it.
Oh well, thanks, man.
20 Grip said sub to his YouTube. Is he on Apple Podcast?
I am. I am on every major podcast platform, if not all of them. It's under the Goat Cave. That is my podcast. Check it out.
What about your Instagram?
Instagram is HVX Goat Productions. Go and follow that because I just hit 1,600 followers and I want to get to more. I'm like, I need more. I want to try and get to 10K by the end of the year. Big step, I know, but that's what I'm aiming for, man.
Well, if half the people on this channel just hit the button.
Yeah, dude, you
Uh,
heard it here.
what else is there? Your MySpace page.
Oh man, I'm too young for that.
Can we get your Xanga? Or what about your AIM username?
Dude, I don't know any of those. I have no idea what you're talking
AOL
about. That is
Instant
gibberish.
Messenger?
I've never had it. I had like MSN,
Oh
you
my
know?
gosh, Yahoo Messenger was one I had too. Uh,
Yeah,
okay, so last thing I want to ask here, since we're at the 2 hour mark, you
absolutely.
mentioned that your listener following is way bigger than your video. Is that something you talk about?
Somewhat. I try not to talk about it too much, but I do like to promote it because I think that when you talk a little bit about this stuff, it shows people the possibilities that are out there. I don't
Yeah,
like to talk too much about, dive deep into the numbers, but it is pretty good, man, and, like, just to see the kind of people that tune in, like, there's a listener from France that tunes in every week, downloads the show every week, never talked to him, never heard of him, but there's one there, and then, like, it is so weird because you just see all these cities and everything that people are in, like, I
yeah,
think as of recently, we are basically being played on average in 20 different countries on every episode, which is pretty interesting, you
that's
know?
really cool.
Yeah. Old fat guy BMX, it is HV as
Here, I'll
in
just
for
type it.
Vincent. Yeah, do it up. But yeah, it's something that like I don't like to, talk about it too much because I don't want to come off as like bragging or cocky or look at me or anything like that. It's more or less that I look at it as everybody who like listens to my content and like watches it as people who are just as interested in BMX as me, right? And
Yeah,
like they want to know the history and whatnot. And I kind of look at it as like there's this many people who tune in every week or there's this many people who have tuned in to, learn about BMX essentially, which I think is really cool.
and if
It's hard
that,
to think about too,
go
but
for it.
sorry,
You're
it's
good.
it's interesting to think about because when you look at it as like this, like if you're starting out as an online content creator, if you get 5 people that watch your video, that's 5 people that watched your video. You can put 5 people at your dinner table and talk to them about your video.
Yeah,
You get to 30 people, well, that fills a classroom, right? You
yep.
get to 200 people, dude, that's a good sized gymnasium right there where you're talking about, your content essentially. And it just goes higher and higher. Like you did a good comparison the other day for 25K, that fills a football stadium.
Red
And it's
Bull
hard to,
Arena in
yeah.
Harrison, New Jersey is a 25,000 person arena.
And it's crazy to think about, right? Because when you see the numbers as like an online content creator, you don't really think of it that way. You just think of it as a number. But then when you really consider it and think about it, that's 25,000 people that have, went and hit the subscribe button on your page because they liked what you're doing enough to where they want to see more of it, you know?
Yeah, I definitely don't look at things as a number like a lot of people do, where I feel every single time one of these milestones happen, it's like my responsibility to do my best gets even greater. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm glad that it is already as high as it could go personally so that I never have to feel that pressure. But everything you just said is a really great pitch for people to go and check out what you're doing. And my very last thing here is I just want to ask for some help with I'm thinking about uploading the audio from my BMX news to
Absolutely.
something, but I have
Yep,
no like
dude.
I want to upload it and I'm sure you know the best pathway to do that. So
I
maybe
got you covered.
at some point you could send me some notes.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, if you want to end the live stream, actually, we'll just talk about it right now. And I got you set with everything that you need.
All right. On that note, it's been 2 hours even. So let's wrap this sucker up. You all know where to find his stuff at. And if you don't, I'm sorry for your luck.
There we go. Thank you guys for checking out everything that Brant is doing and everything that I'm doing. I'd love to see you guys on my Instagram, YouTube. Hit me in the DMs. I actually give out stickers to pretty much anybody that DMs me. I'm all out of stickers right now, but I will send some out in the very, very close future.
And just on that note, if you send questions for one of his future podcasts, he's probably going to ask them. So do it,
Definitely.
check him out, and good night, everyone.
Peace.